Hi guys, a ULEZ update for you. So more money than the scrappage scheme put together is being spent on chasing up fines. And who's the only one that's happy with the ULEZ expansion? Who? What? No, what's on second? Huh? I'll explain everything right after this.
A brown card guy. Brown card guy.
Right then, so the sums involved in the ULEZ expansion continue to make no sense at best. And at worst, they seem to be incredibly wasteful. Now, let's put it all together. There's £200 million has been spent on the implementation, i.e. the infrastructure that's gone into putting together the ULEZ expansion. So the cameras, road marking signs, etc., including advertising and PR. Now, £110 million initially was allocated to the scrappage scheme, but then apparently another 50 million was added to that at the last minute. So remember, 1 week before ULEZ actually came in, the expansion actually came in, they opened the scrappage scheme up to everybody. At that point, you could say that it was brought to about £160 million. Now, this we know, the previous ULEZ brought in £225 million in 2022. That was made up of charges and also of fines, which of course are £180 or reduced to £90 if you pay within 2 weeks. Now, they reckon that the ULEZ expansion will earn them £300 million in the first year, although they admit that it will decline to virtually zero, that amount that they make, by the year 2027. Well, they say it will, but there must be more to it, because otherwise none of this actually makes sense. And I'll tell you why. Because London Mayor Sadiq Khan, having imposed the expansion, is now handing out £151.8 million worth in contracts to hunt down drivers who have not paid the ULEZ charge. This is according to a report on GB News. Now, one contract, which is believed to be worth 34.6 million, is aimed at specifically overseas drivers who fail to pay. This is according to The Sun. Now, that's really interesting, because a lot of people have said to me, like, well, if you have an overseas number plate, what happens, etc., etc. No, they still try to hunt you down. And if your car is compliant, you need to go on the tracker and make sure that it's registered as compliant. A second contract is worth £117.2 million. So we've already said £34.6 million. This one is £117.2 million. And this one has been shared between debt recovery firm Marston, enforcement agency Bristow and Suter, and bailiffs JBW. So all together, put all of that together, and you've got well over 600 million spent on ULEZ. And I don't even know if that actually accounts for the cost of the mobile ULEZ vans, which in themselves cost quite a bit of money. And of course, don't forget the staff that drives them there, runs them, and also the support car. There seems to be one support car that goes around with each of these vans. So that's another car on top of that. And by the way, let's also bring into this account the estimated annual loss to London's economy because of the ULEZ expansion. That was worked out to about £500 million a year. So critics of the ULEZ expansion often say that this is just a money-making or money-grabbing exercise. Well, that would make sense, because it's certainly not due to have any, well, there's no reason to have it purely for the air quality, because we know that it doesn't have any significant impact on the air quality. That's according to not only other experts, but TfL's own independently conducted report that was done by Jacobs. Yet these numbers don't really seem to make any sense either. It feels to me like if you combine the £500 million loss and the nearly £600 million that's spent on ULEZ, we're talking about over £1 billion that the ULEZ expansion is costing the capital. Wow. And the income, I would say, is relatively minuscule by comparison. What is this all about? Would love to hear your comments.
Brown card guy.
Well, then who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who is on first?
Now, what are you asking me for?
Brown card guy.
I'll tell you who is happy about the ULEZ expansion. Who? Who? I mean, who? World Health Organization. That's what I'm trying to say. WHO. This is not an Abbott and Costello routine. This is WHO. So somebody in WHO is Maria Neira, who is the WHO's World Health Organization's Environment, Climate Change and Health Director. Now, she has praised Mayor Sadiq Khan for expanding ULEZ, admitting that if he succeeds, we need to use this example for all the mayors around the world. It would be really very bad if we lost this battle in terms of public health. So interesting how she words that, and it correlates to what many have said, and I've said as well, is that the mayor has not been considering or not been putting Londoners' best interests at heart when he's been looking at the ULEZ expansion scheme, but actually those of international players. And of course, don't forget that he's also chair of C40 Cities, which is an international group of mayors. So that kind of puts that together. So you really wonder, it's like, come on, who's actually your priority here, Mr. Mayor? Regarding objections, she says such initiatives, is back to this director again. Regarding objections, she says that, that's my place. Hang on, sorry. Regarding objections, she says initiatives always come with controversy. Anytime you touch a commercial interest and economic interest, you will have a strong reaction. And part of this reaction will come in the form of conspiracy theories. What the heck? First of all, commercial interest, economic interest. I mean, saying that, saying when the ULEZ expansion actually just impacts ordinary people's lives and their situations and their jobs and their incomes and their friends and family and etc., etc. All of this just demonstrates how little understanding she actually has of how these things actually impact real people on the ground. But she goes on. She says, remember when the indoor smoking ban started? It was a similar battle. People in pubs were saying, we are going to lose our business. Everybody was concerned about losing money. Now, on the contrary, people are happier. This is quoting from her. Well, I think that's really odd. She's basically comparing owning and using a car, which to most people is a necessity to go about their daily lives and their social lives in order for work, for business, etc., etc. She's comparing that to smoking. I think that's absolutely an extraordinary comparison, but it's a slippery slope. It's very dangerous because ultimately, where does it lead? Nobody do anything because it might hurt your health, right? Well, anyway, I'll tell you what, I look forward to hearing what you think about her comments and also about the money situation regarding ULEZ. By the way, I'll put the links for both of these news stories in the description below. Catch you all in the next video.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.